When Ferrari embraced turbocharging for the 488, we mourned the passing of the 458's extraordinary V8 and wondered what a forced induction Ferrari would be like. Now we know the answer. It's truly sensational.
So the last time we were shooting one of these leaderboard laps with a V8 Ferrari was with the 458 Speciale, and as you all know, that car is absolutely sensational. But in terms of Ferrari's model range, that was literally a lifetime ago, because we're now here in 488 GTB, and gone is the mighty naturally aspirated 4.5 litre V8, and in its place is the 488's 3.9 litre twin turbo V8. And the stats for this engine are quite remarkable actually. 661 horsepower from just over 6,000 revs right the way through to the 8,000 RPM red line. 561 foot-pounds of torque from 3,000 revs. So it's a totally different beast to the screamer that was the 458. What would you be impressed by first impressions wise? Well, the car just feels so full of energy. Every tiny minute squeeze of the throttle gives you precise response, and there's so much motivation from low and middle revs. It just picks you up and never lets you go. Each gear just punches you forwards with more and more insistence. It's a very different experience to the 458 because that car really thrived on revs. This is hardly a plodder, but it does the meat of its work in the meat of the revs, so it's perhaps not as thrilling right up towards the top end, but my god, it hasn't half got some shove. We're actually in CT off mode, so that's as relaxed as it can be while still retaining some of the second generation side slip control. And the engineers, Ferrari engineers, were at pains to say you still have to drive the car, and you do. That, believe it or not, is still with some electronic intervention, so you could very easily spin this car off in this mode, but it gives you a freedom to explore the limits with some sense of there being a safety net if you totally run out of talent, which there's every possibility of around here. Just feel it hold back out of the slowest corners, but into the faster corners, you can see that just slides beautifully. Again, that was on turning. If the engine is a real highlight, then so is the chassis. It's very familiar, which it should do, because it's really an evolution of the 458 and the Speciale in particular. So the dampers and the steering are taken from that car. The brakes are mighty, but then they should be because they come from La Ferrari, so an even more potent car. And it all comes together to create a car that is blisteringly fast, but incredibly approachable. You feel like you know where you are all the time with it, because you can sense a certain amount of body roll, so you can feel the lateral load build, and then you feel the chassis start to work, and it just draws you in and builds your confidence in a way that a over 660 horsepower really shouldn't be able to do. Right, now go through here, wait for the beep. There we go, that's everything off. And immediately you just sense a certain intimidation because you know it's all down to you. That in itself is such an exciting feeling because your right foot and your hands, your destiny are being held there. And that's what a great car should be about. And there's no question this car is just spectacularly good. When Ferrari said that they were going to turbocharged engines, we were naturally sceptical about what that would mean in terms of how drivable the car would be. But this is so precise. Every minute piece of throttle travel gives you such control over so much power and torque. The response is there. Okay, if you're in a very, very high gear at low revs, there's a split second where you feel it build up some boost, but otherwise it's just electric, the throttle response. And the balance is outrageously exploitable. is a rocket ship. For the 488 GTB to match the 1 minute 12.8 second lap of McLaren's ultra-aggressive Special Edition 675 is hugely impressive. For don't forget, this GTB is a series production model and just the beginning for the 488. Next year's lighter, sharper and even more powerful 488 Speciale really is a mouth-watering prospect. We can't wait to see what it can do. To see more of our leaderboard videos, click on the left to watch the McLaren 675 LT, or click on the right and watch the wonderful Ferrari 458 Speciale.